Why do we take pictures? I know there's not one answer to that question, but making these videos has really forced me to ask myself why. In my last video, I took a look at my personal motivation for taking pictures, what landscape photography brings to my life. And if you haven't seen it, you could watch it right here. But today I'm asking a more general question. Why do any of us do this? Why does landscape photography exist at all? Is it for the views, the likes, and the hopes that even I, one day, can create an audience to shamelessly sell products to? Yeah, a little bit. But I've been taking pictures way longer than I've been creating content. So there's gotta be a little more to it, right? I recently met a 65-year-old man who had just climbed Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the lower 48, like 16,000 feet. He had just climbed it for the second time. I asked him, so, I mean, that's awesome, but why are you doing this? Is it just a hobby that you have? Are you an instructor? He's like, no, it's not a hobby. It's a sickness. A sickness. Is that what I have? I mean, why else would I go out into the most remote, darkest skies in the country, oftentimes in freezing cold or dangerously hot temperatures? And why else would I wait till 4 a.m. for the Milky Way to perfectly line up with my foreground interest, only to realize that the sun's coming up in 2 hours, so I might as well stay out here all night and shoot the sunrise? Now, don't get me wrong, seeing the Milky Way with your naked eye light up the sky, seriously, is a life-changing experience, something you'll never forget. And exploring the most undisrupted geological wonders is like getting a glimpse of what our planet was like before we existed. So maybe it's not a sickness, but a calling, a responsibility even, to give our planet a voice. Landscape photography is that voice. I mean, it's the only way a majority of the people on this planet will ever see what we see. So, one day, I will be selling you something on this platform. I promise. But for now, I'm just taking pictures. Here we are, Alabama Hills. You probably can't see me. I'm not that important here, to be honest. But what is important is the beautiful winter Milky Way over Mount Whitney, over Mount Lone Pine. I have always, as badly as I've wanted the summer Milky Way, and if you haven't seen my Milky Way panorama video, click right here, take a look. One of my favorite videos. One of my favorite shots I've ever taken in Anza Borrega State Park. Anyways, here we are tonight in Alabama Hills. It's a clear, perfectly clear night. There was clouds in the forecast. There was snow in the forecast. There's not a cloud in the sky. And when it's cold and it's clear, the stars look amazing. We got the Move Shoot Move tracker on, 45-second exposures, f2.8, 1600 ISO. So we're doing a 2-row panorama, 5 or 6 45-second shots for noise stacking. So 5 shots, 5 shots, 5 shots, 5 shots, 5 shots, move the camera up, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And we're just gonna pray that it stitches together. I'm absolutely freezing. I just gotta stand here and march in place and wiggle my toes so I can keep circulation to my feet. And I do have a 50mm time lapse running over there of Mount Whitney and the winter stars. So if I survive the night, it could be epic. If you've ever been to a dark sky area with a full moon, it is really incredible. You literally don't need a headlamp to get around. Now, knowing that coming in, I was still shocked at how much light this tiny quarter moon provided on the mountains. And unfortunately, it caused a bit of a problem with my foreground. So here's the plan. I ran into a problem that I didn't anticipate. The moon started coming up, and I thought that was going to be better for the foreground so I can get the mountains nice and kind of lit. But since the moon is still so low on the horizon, it was casting a harsh light on the mountains. It looked ridiculous. So I don't know. I just hope the panel comes out. I really do. I may have, maybe I'm just grossly inefficient. You watch all these channels and they make everything look so easy. We make things look hard on this channel, okay? We're the channel that makes things look hard. And I hope you appreciate that. It's honest, it's real. Or I just suck, one of the two. Anyways, we're gonna wait till the moon gets a little higher on the horizon. And then we are going to shoot the foreground. If that doesn't work, then we're just gonna wait till the sun starts coming up, because it's already 2. I'm not gonna get any sleep if I want to shoot the sunrise. So wait till the sun starts coming up. We'll shoot a morning blue hour for the foreground, and then we'll also get our sunrise shot, which is gonna be epic, and a sunrise time lapse. So big plans for the morning / rest of the night. We'll see what happens. Let's do it. Alright, it is 4:53, and I was able to sleep for an hour or so here, passed out, and I feel wrecked. But it's time to go get that sunrise and the foreground. So let's do it. Alright, so here we are. It's 5:30, 5:45-ish. We're doing 2-minute exposures for our foreground. I wanted to stop down to 5.6 to get a decent depth of field, so it takes 2 minutes. I only have an ISO at 400. And we're just scanning the whole thing here, 15 degrees at a time. We got the 50 millimeter going, and it looks beautiful. It really looks amazing. So, I hope those stars came out. I really do. All right, so I've done so many shots here. I'm on my 3rd row back and forth just to make sure I've gotten a panel that's gonna stitch together. So the sun's actually starting to come up now. I'm down to 15-second exposure, 64 ISO, 4.5. Just finishing up the last couple shots. And I really think that, this should look amazing. It really should. Just look at it. How can you mess this up? But if it's possible to mess it up, you're looking at the guy who can do it. Well, I gotta say, I really like how this came out. At the end of the day, I love the look of the shadows created with the rising moon. I wasn't sure if they were gonna work, but I think it really helps define the foreground, and it adds a bit more texture to the mountains. I didn't end up using the entire panorama of the stars because I've always loved this portion of the Eastern Sierras, and I didn't want to overshadow this epic mountain range with the stars. That being said, I did get some great nebula exposures around Orion. I think Barnard's Loop dominates the sky, and I thought this was a good balance overall. I did stay up for the sunrise, and I shot a 27-shot panorama. Unfortunately, all but one of the frames was completely out of focus. I'm just going to go ahead and chalk this up to extreme exhaustion, but either way, it sucked. So from the freezing cold, to the lack of sleep, to the epic sunrise fail, this was a really challenging night for me. And I couldn't help but to ask myself, why is this how I want to spend my time? Yet, every time I begin my drive home, my first thought is, how soon can I come back? Bob Proctor, who recently passed away, was an incredibly motivating personal development guru. And I think he put it best, and I quote, When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll feel it. I bet a lot of you watching can relate. Let me know in the comments if any of this rings true for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. Do me a favor and like the video on the way out, and I'll see you next time.